I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, April the 18th, brought to you in part by ProBack by Bimeda. This year, set your calves up for better success by strengthening your vaccine protocol with ProBack vaccines. Other killed vaccines don't even come close. For more information, go to BimedaBiologicals.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market in north central Missouri and Creston Livestock Market in south central Iowa both having big replacement specials here right away. In Unionville on Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning, they've got a bred cow, bred heifer, and pair special coming up. With the Whitworth consignment included there, 250 young 3 to 4 year old black bred cows set to start calving in on September the 7th. For a short calving window. They got the Raymer Farms consignment there, 200 black running age bred cows, pairs, and even the breeding bulls that went with them. They got many other local producers there. Check them out on Saturday here on DV Auction. Up at Creston Livestock Market in Creston, Iowa, they've got their bred cow, bred heifer, and pair special here today on Friday starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. Some stick out deals on there is the Jackson Brothers consignment. They've got big fancy Angus 3 to 5 year old bred cows that will start calving on August the 10th for a short calving window. Then Hostetler, they've got Angus running ages, bred cows and pairs. They've got several other nice consignments from local producers there, including several of those consignments being first calf heifer pairs. Don't miss either one of those replacement sales, both of them on DVAuction.com. The market has risen. The market has risen indeed. We've seen a complete recovery from the little speed bump that we had from the tariff talk and everything diving there last week and the end of the previous week, but we gained our ground back on our fed cattle market on Thursday, and we're not done. I think we may see some higher prices if they do end up trading a little bit on Friday even, but your Southern Plains market gained $4 to $6 already this week compared to last week. Northern Plains market $2 higher live and $7 higher on a dress basis. We did see that rare Thursday cattle on feed that came out on Thursday at 2 o'clock, and it's mostly neutral. I guess you could look at it with a magnifying glass and say that it could be a tint bearish there, but by the time we get back to full business on Monday with the higher fat cattle market and the way the board's been performing and the way your index levels for your cash feeders have been performing, it's not going to see any of that bearishness, if there is any at all. But you look at the cattle on feed report, your April 1st on feed inventories come out to be 98.4% of a year ago. The average of the analyst guess was 98.3. Placements in March come out to be 105.1, about where I thought they'd be, compared to the average of the analyst guess at 104.2, so maybe a tick bearish there. Your marketings in March come out to be 101.1 compared to your guesses of 100.6, but you see that they were off just a few tenths of a percentage point on placements and on marketings, but it only came up to 1/10 of a percentage point on your total cattle on feed. So I don't see how you could see a whole lot there that was down about that. But got some big sales coming up here, guys. Of course, we've been in sales season all along here, but coming up on Monday, got the big Jorgensen Land and Cattle Top Cut Bull Sale powered by the Mother Lode. Now, that is going to be Monday, April 21st here, this coming Monday at 1 o'clock p.m. They're going to be having that at Lazy J Grand Lodge there in Ideal, South Dakota, but it's also on DV Auction, so you can sit right in the comfort of your own home on your laptop or notepad or even on your phone and bid on that sale. But they've got some impressive bulls there, 150 plus registered Angus. They're backed with 7 generations of culling those. I tell you what, it is going to be a sale to watch there. America's #1 source for bulls, Jorgensen Land and Cattle up there. You know, we're all about the sale barns here on Feeder Flash, and every month we like to congratulate one particular sale and recognize them for doing such a good job. And one of the sales, or the sale we're going to recognize this month, and they've been stick-out sales on the Feeder Flash. They're doing a good job. They have good runs every week. And your buy meat and market of the month is OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma. Of course, Bill Barnhart's the manager there, and that whole crew there of all the guys, your commission guys in there, Dale Cooper and Sons, Gary Reed, all of them in there. They do such a good job, and I tell you what, they're friendly. They're there to help you out, sitting in a good spot right there in central Oklahoma. They had their calf sales on Tuesday, their feeder sales on Wednesday. The buyers love that. They don't have to sit in the sale all day long. They can get up to the edge of their seat when the sale starts, as they know that what's going to be there is what they're interested in. But OKC West does a great job there, and we congratulate them for being the Buy Meat Market of the Month. Let's talk about your board on Thursday. April live cattle futures up big again, up $2.75 at 209.82. June was up $2 smooth at 204.07, and your back months on live cattle up 2 cents to up $1.17. Feeder cattle for May up $2.45 at 286.85. Of course, your April went off and went up big there to just go off the board there, because everybody was looking at your CME cash feeder cattle index, which gained over $5.50 when it finally caught up there, and people are figuring that thing up, you know, every day, especially when it gets close to the end of the month, your spot month there, because they know it's going to settle with the cash. August feeder cattle up 142 at 290.87. Your back months were unchanged to 95 cents higher. May corn was down 2 cents a bushel at 4.82 on Thursday. Soybeans down 2 1/4 cents a bushel at 10.36 and hard red winter wheat for May down just a half cent a bushel on Thursday at 5.57. Fat cattle trade was very interesting on Thursday. We started out early in the morning, and the packers have been aggressive. I told you in our earlier visits this week how aggressive these packers have been, just really trying to talk these feeders into pulling their show list forward and selling them more cattle because they're desperate for cattle. In Iowa, they sold 3,200 early on Thursday, and there was a lot of cattle that traded right about 2 o'clock because the cattle on feed report was coming out. Were the packers afraid that the cattle on feed report was going to be bullish and they'd have to pay more for them? No, they wanted the cattle desperately, and they needed the cattle. In fact, cattle that they were dickering on Thursday morning were actually being loaded onto trucks going to the packing plant before the cattle on feed report even came out. But Iowa's 3,200 sold live from 210 to 212. Like I said, that was $2 higher there for the most part. Your dress trade from 332 to 335, that was straight up $7 higher. I did hear that there was some 213 live that traded on Thursday, and it didn't get reported by USDA, but we'll get the total roundup of those prices on our next visit starting out on Monday. Nebraska sold 4,200 for the week, and that's about all they sold all week long. Live prices in Nebraska on Thursday at 212. Dress prices from 332 to 335. Kansas sold 1,900 on Thursday before 2 o'clock. They'd only sold a couple hundred more than that before earlier in the week. Live prices in Kansas from 208 to 211. But we did see some cattle sell on the Fed Cattle Exchange on Thursday morning. They were top quality black cattle there, sold on a live basis there at 211.50. Now, I'm not sure why we didn't see more than that. Might have went to a smaller packer that didn't have to report or didn't get their reportings in by 2 o'clock. But dress sales in Kansas at 332. Texas sold cattle 3,000 head on Thursday. That's all they've sold all week, and live prices in Texas from 208 to 210. And like I said, your Southern Plains market was $4 to $6 higher. Big gains for them. did have a fat cattle auction in Iowa, Kelowna, Iowa. They had about 500 head, and fat steers and heifers sold $1.50 to $3 higher. Most fed steers and heifers, choice and better, selling from $210 to $229.50. That's pretty impressive. And they had dairy choice steers there from $2 to $2.11. So good fat cattle market in an auction setting there in Kelowna, Iowa. Box beef cutout values were mixed, with choice cuts down 63 cents at $332.90. Selects were up $2 at $316.39. Your slaughter come back for the first 4 days of the week. 477,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 14,000 better than just last week at this point, 9,000 less than this point a year ago. Your actual slaughter came back for the week ending April the 5th, had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 949 pounds. Now you guys, you don't have to be very old to remember when they heavily penalized cattle for carcasses weighing over 950. Now the average dressed steer carcass weight is 949, and that was 5 pounds bigger than the report that come out last week. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services. Dakota Moss likely took a little trip, or maybe a short vacation with his wife, because he was not going to be able to write LRPs on Thursday, on Friday, or the weekend, with the cattle on feed coming out on Thursday and Good Friday on Friday. So I'm sure that he took a little bit of much needed time off, because he is busy, I tell you what. And all the agents that work right along with him are busy too. They are your LRP specialists. This coming week, if you're liking the protection levels out there, get a hold of them, see what it's going to take to protect the cattle that you're going to turn out this summer. Talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance, working to protect your livelihood, guys. Your real-time index on DVAuction late in the day on Thursday, after all your sales had concluded, sitting at 290.22 for an 800-pound cash auction steer. 7-day moving average, that was 51 cents higher than end of the day on Wednesday. And then, like I said earlier, your cash feeder cattle index come back at 293.57, up a whopping 554 there. They don't cover enough commodity sales. They're too heavily influenced by the high quality premium sales there. And whenever that big runs, I mean, it just overwhelms them. But it's tough for those commodity guys to keep up with what that cash index is going to be, or when it's going to come out. Talk about some sales, other sales coming up. Beaver County Stockyards, our friends there, they've got a big special coming up here on Saturday also. They got the Griswold Bull Sale. They're out of Stillwater, Oklahoma there. They've got 30 top quality bulls there. Not all one breed. I think they've got one Hereford bull. They've got some Angus bulls, and the balance are going to be Simmental and Sim Angus bulls. But tell you what, the Griswold name there, it goes back for a long time, and synonymous with top quality. And then when that sale concludes, Beaver County is going to be having a replacement special there. They've got 35 4-year-old pairs bred back with big calves on them, and the calves are all solid black there. Be a really impressive deal there. There's 35 Griswold bred heifers, big ones. They'll weigh 12.5, guys. I got 100 head of Gardner genetic replacement heifers. They'll be weighing in the 9s. They're open replacement heifers ready for your bull, and the quality will be outstanding there. They've got 50 replacement heifers from local producers right around there. And then they'll finish up with 200 to 300 running aged bred cows and pairs there from local producers there at Beaver County Stockyards, coming up on Saturday, and that's on DVAuction too. I'm coming to you from Fallon, Nevada here. Going to be at Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon, Nevada here on Friday. I think we're going to be starting at 10 o'clock Pacific, so that'll be about noon time for you guys out in the central part. And if you want to get on DVAuction and bid on some of these high altitude desert calves, that's what they're going to have most of. And they've got a lot of grazing cattle there. Going to have 2,000 or a little better by the time we get all done there. But get on to DVAuction.com and check that sale out. Some of your big sales that happened on Thursday. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas? They had 3,700. Good run for them. Feeder steers $3 to $7 higher. Feeder heifers $1 to $4 higher. The light calves weighing under 500 pounds were $10 to $15 higher. They were our National Beef Wire stick out sale of the day. Check out this automated market report through Cattle Market Central and follow along here on the best tested weights. How about 352 head of 5-weight steer calves in Salina? They averaged 543 pounds at 374.10. 477 head of 6-weight steers averaged 646 at 348.31 on the weighted average. Wow. 323 head of 8-weight steers averaged 873 at 282.27, and 218 head of the 9-weight steers averaged 957 at 267.33. Look at the best tested heifers. 293 head of 4-weight heifer calves averaged 455 in Salina at a weighted average price of 375.87. 439 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 541 at 348.08. 290 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 636 at 310.38. And 406 head of 8-weight heifers. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas, average weight 836, weighted average price 259.06. Got some individual quotes from all around, like always, about Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota, DVAuction broadcaster there. You would think this would be the absolute top quote for the day. It was just very, very impressive. 72 head, 807 pound steers bring 309. Wow, but I've got more impressive, especially for where they're at. How about Paris, Kentucky, Paris Stockyards? 75 steers weighed 699 or 700 pounds through the ring in Paris, Kentucky at 328.50. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky? They had tons of yearlings there selling in big strings. The most impressive to me was 116 head, weighed 895, nearly 900 pounds at 286.10 in Kentucky, guys. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas. 64 steers in Pratt, weighed 920 and bring 293.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.